The last recession, also known as the Great Financial Crisis of 2008, left my parents dead broke. My mom and dad could not get jobs for years. The other side of that though is that millionaire status, so people who actually became millionaires, reached an all-time high in 2014 after the pandemic. Dead broke without a job or a millionaire? That's a very easy choice. I've been on the dead broke side. It's time for us to be on the millionaire side now. So let's go over what the people who became millionaires, what they did before the recession, which is right now, because even though we are technically in it, we won't really feel it until sometime next year, maybe even 2024. Some of the things that happened to my parents were beyond their control, but a lot of it was actually in their hands. So let's try to correct those issues so that when we come out of this recession this time around, we're gonna be rich. Stick around for all that and more. It's Crystal with the Cash Compass. My parents are the typical Americans, okay? They had a typical job, average performer, like an average life. They were not the employees getting accolades and getting promotions. They were the employees that they kind of maintained. What's really important to understand in this day and age that there is no maintaining. If you are not gradually and continuously increasing and getting better, you're falling behind because the world is not stopping for you. Apple comes out with a new phone every single year. We don't even know what changes half the time, right? But it doesn't matter. Every year they're getting better, they're having a better camera, they have a new chip. It's always growth. A very toxic trait that my first job out of college taught me was up or out. They had a strategic alignment of how you can get promoted. And if you weren't reaching those milestones, then you would probably get fired, right? They'd stop raising your income, and if that didn't get you out, then you just plain out get left. So the first line of business to make sure that we are insulated during the recession, and this might sound bad, but I don't care. What are your colleagues doing? Are you at the bottom of the totem pole, right? Because let me tell you, some people, they want to actually fire these people, but they don't have the guts to, but they will hide behind a recession. And if you are the weakest link, you will be at risk. One of my parents got laid off because they said the company wasn't performing well and they had to restructure. Y'all, I literally drove past one of their stores yesterday, okay? Unfortunately, one of my parents it was at the bottom of the totem pole. I know we all hate doing more than what we're supposed to do at work, but do not become a slave to your job description. Be a step above, because that is going to insulate you and protect you from cuts that are going to come. A lot of large companies are already starting to cut, and we haven't even really felt the effects of the recession yet, all right? So stay woke. Getting fired should be a blessing. If you think getting fired right now would really be the end of your world, you have to really rethink your skills. How long have you been working and what kind of skills do you have? I'll answer that myself, okay? I've been working since 2015 as an adult after college, and I've actually created this online business, right? So I bring in tens of thousands of dollars year over year from these online things that I have going on. If my job were to fire me, which if y'all watching this, don't play with me, but if they were to fire me, honestly, it'd give me more opportunity to focus exclusively on YouTube and on TikTok and all these other things that I have going on, right? And really pour all my efforts into it. So it might be a blessing. Assess how long you've been at work and what other skills you have. If you were to get fired, would it literally be the end of your world? Or are you in an industry that's really good, right? So I'm in accounting. Everybody needs accountants, right? Everybody, especially public companies, they have to report their earnings to investors. No matter what, they're gonna need SEC filers. That's what I do, right? I do SEC reporting. I'm not saying I would never be out of a job, but I have a lot of protection versus somebody who's maybe working in the real estate field as like some sort of mortgage broker, especially when you have refinancing that's kind of plummeting, right? So make sure that you're in an industry that could kind of weather the storm. You want to make sure you're able to pivot and be really wary of industries like maybe retail or, like I said, real estate, because those are the hardest hit. All right, so it was important for me to say those two things because maybe you don't want to necessarily start a side hustle. Not everybody has that in them to create another business. So if you're not the one that's going to be having other skills that you could pivot into, make sure you're not the weak link at your job. All right, that's how we're gonna kind of make the money. Now let's talk about keeping the money. I am watching my money like a hawk, and I have multiple spreadsheets that I'm using to track my net worth, my expenses, and make sure that we are on the up and up. If you want access to my spreadsheets, I do have them in my course with a very in-depth explanation of how I use them. The link is in my bio. I'm still investing routinely, but I am placing a much heavier focus on cash because there are going to be opportunities, all right? Some people keep saying it's not gonna crash. It literally has always crashed, okay? And if history is any indication of the future, people still behave the same, right? We have fear and greed. And that's what really moves housing, what moves stocks. It's people, and people have not changed. The government can do whatever they want to prolong it, but the facts remain that there's going to be a correction, a reversion to the mean. This literally always happens. So of course I'm saving my money because I want to take advantage of things like real estate or businesses. Sometimes people do not manage their businesses well and they start to sell them because they're seeing shifts or they're failing, right? So that's a good opportunity there. Of course, stocks, especially dividend paying stocks, REITs, a lot of things are going to be on a discount, okay? Some of these companies are just being dragged down with everybody else, but they're still solid companies to invest in. So I still invest on autopilot because that's just a good muscle to build, but we're really keeping cash on the side right now. All right, so we secured the bag, we keep the bag. Now let's talk about flipping the money. This is a stage where blood is already on the streets. People have already lost their jobs and there's a lot of chaos going on. The recession can be felt. It's no longer a topic of discussion. It is a matter of reality, okay? And people who did not watch this video and did not prepare, they're going to be transferring their wealth to people who did watch this video and did prepare. It's nothing but a wealth transfer. You did not lose your job. You transferred your wealth right back to your job, your company, right? You didn't lose money on the stocks. You had to transfer your wealth to somebody else who bought that stock from you at a lower price than what you paid for it. You're preparing now so that you're not on the losing end when things really settle in. At this point, you're going to identify what kind of risk taker are you. And again, in my course, I do offer things that help you analyze where you are on the risk spectrum. If you're somebody who takes a lot of risk and who isn't really afraid to lose money, like let's say you're a gambler, you can go into things like cryptocurrencies or emerging markets and things that we are not really entirely too sure about, but you might have a good feeling on. If you're like me and you're somewhere in the middle, you're going to stick to companies that have good financials, solid balance sheet, they have money that's coming in, their cash flows are positive. Or you're gonna invest in REITs because we all know that REITs have to give out 90% of their earnings, right? So you're almost certainly going to get some sort of dividend from these REITs, real estate investment trusts. Dividend paying stocks, because no matter what's going on with the price, you're still gonna get some sort of payout, okay? It's not the most amount of money, but this is going to accumulate. There's something called dividend kings and dividend aristocrats. These are companies that have been paying out dividends for the past 25 to 50 years. If you've been paying out dividends for that long a period of time, chances are you're not gonna mess with that streak. We're gonna make sure that we are looking into all different asset classes, especially things like commodities, because these things are going to go up, all right? Stocks can definitely feel a little bit intimidating because there's a whole bunch of charts and candlesticks and a whole bunch of confusing things, but you don't even need to worry about that when you're investing, okay? You do not have to know about candle charts or a 50-day moving average to invest in stocks. There are two very simple ways to invest in stocks that do not require charts, and you're gonna watch this video right here to learn what they are. Mwah. See you guys next time.